Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. It's Chris, the Ultimate Recycler, here in my emergency storage shed for episode 153. So we're closing in on 3 years. Something out of this shed every week. We haven't failed yet. I'm not going to fail now, even though it's going to be 40 degrees here again today. Yesterday got to, I think, 42, and tomorrow is going to be 43 with blustery northerly winds. So they've declared it a catastrophic fire day for Victoria, so I'm fingers crossed. There is a fire actually in the hills not far from here, and it is threatening properties already, so not good. But it's Australia in summer, and hopefully they can get things under control. Enough of the weather report. We've got to get something out of this shed. Last week we moved the last item off that shelf there. I haven't moved the shelf yet. I'm going to move it right now. Let's have a look what's behind it. And poor Coco doesn't like the heat. The concrete must provide some sort of coolness. She follows me around everywhere and just flops down on the concrete. So we'll probably go inside this afternoon and sit in front of the air conditioner and do some jobs in there. Although I have got some TVs to fix and the studio is air conditioned, so that might be the go. I can see a couple of Shell oil boxes back in there, which is really nice. They're quite popular. But as you can see, that shelf is empty. I was going to move it against the wall, but shock horror, there's some microwaves there. Now, I had to clean the deck off for Christmas, and these ones are awaiting parts for repair. So perhaps I'll move them away, put the shelf over there, and then put them on the shelf. They've kind of got to stay here until I can find some parts. I don't really want to fill the deck up with junk again now that I've got it reasonably clean. So we'll move that shelf out of the road. I guess we've got to start from the top again. That yellow apples box, from what I can see in the little handle there, it looks like old newspapers, which isn't overly exciting. I have to deal with everything, so we'll get them down. Probably then the 2 jerry cans, and maybe we'll grab that vintage retro esky with that mystery object on top. I did ask for guesses in a video a while back, and a few people named it correctly. We'll get that into the bench and have a bit of a look at it as well. So hopefully that's, hopefully we'll get through all that today, because that'll clean the whole top area off. And then we can start working on, well, I guess we have to take that big cabinet thing out. And I do have a plan for that. And yes, I was correct. It is old newspapers. They're probably quite old. We'll need to have a look through and see what we're going to do with them. It's a bit of a risk leaving newspapers up on top there. They could have easily turned into a box of shredded paper for mouse nests or something. But anyway, oh, there's 2 boxes. Oh, there's a tray. An empty tray, and there's more newspapers underneath. Oh, this might be some stuff from the farm. So there might be some family history stuff to save in here. I better go through this carefully. I'll give you a bit of a look, but we won't film going through it all. I'll go and grab the jerry cans, because we've got to do them as well. So there's old metal jerry cans. I'm not sure how old. Sometimes they're army ones. Oh, that says, what does that say? Kero only. But that looks like an army stencil, doesn't it? BSC 1985. It does have a Department of Defence arrow on there, broad arrow. I'll get you a picture of that. And it is dated 1985. So it's not super old, but it is an army jerry can that should sell quite well. The other one looks like it's older. And I can't see anything immediately written on that one. Oh, that does have a date. 1958. So I think that's an army one as well. I'll clean those up. I'll get you some photos of the printing. They should sell probably at least $20 each. So that's all right. They'll just need a bit of a quick wash up. I'm going to have to go through the paper first before we bring that esky in, because we won't have enough room on the bench. I'll take these outside and wash them, and I'll get you some photos of those. Let's have a look at this newspaper. And it's always fascinating looking through old newspapers, just at the articles and the adverts. But we want to see what dates on them and what newspapers they actually are and why they've been saved, because they're individual pages, I think. It's a 1966. So the Herald, which is a Melbourne newspaper. I might have just kept this for the adverts. There's a nice advert there of Ferris portable car radios. Sometimes, at one stage I used to frame up a lot of ads. I don't see anything particularly valuable in that. And a lot of people seem to think old newspapers are worth money. They have to be really special, like Even probably the ones that are worth the least are things like the moon landing and the end of World War II and that sort of stuff, because everyone kept a copy. So they're not rare. That one's a bit torn up. Can't see much value there. Probably more valuable in newspapers is maybe your small town papers that didn't have a lot of issues and it holds some local social history. Most museums seem to keep local newspapers, but a lot of them are digitalized. It's a bit hard to say. And you can find them online on Trove and that now. This one's got some interesting adverts, transistor radios again, but I don't really see much value here. Probably what I'll do is I might just have the whole box in the shop. Oh, this is cool. There's a nice big advertisement page of old TVs, black and white TVs, refrigerators, washing machines, the classic Australian Victor lawnmower. Doesn't actually say Victor, but I think it is. Premier. Hanimex reel-to-reel player, some of the large console radiograms. So there's some cool stuff there, and that page would frame up okay. That's 1966 again. But it does take time to frame these things up. Time that I don't really have at the moment. So someone else may appreciate that. Spring Gardening Week. Super Swift mowers, Kelso wheelbarrows, gardening tools. And a big advert here for Big Sister sliced mushrooms. So 1966 was the year that Australia first went to decimal currency. Did we see any prices? Oh, here, okay, we had pounds here. So was this the 66 one? Yes. All right, so September 1966. But it was in February 1966 that they changed. Oh, there we go. They've got the dollars in brackets. So 6 months after the change, they were still advertising in pounds in the old money, 99 guineas. And then they'd have the dollar figure in brackets. So I guess it took a while for people to change. Oh, and here on the lawnmower one, they had $40 trade-in. And yet it was 12 and 6 weekly payments, which is $1.27 a week to pay it off. So ads are very interesting to look through. But yeah, I think I can't see anything history-wise that I want to keep here. Is this a drawing from one of my kids? Possibly. On the back of a newsletter, 1999. This looks more recent. Finding Nemo. Much more recent. Don't know why that's in there. It's all been kept for a reason. Maybe some of my kids kept this. Here's a much older paper. Now this is where things should not be just discarded. The Dunmunkle Standard Matoa Advertiser. Matoa is where their family farm was, of course, for those that have watched the channel for a long time. 1955. I do have a box of old Matoa stuff to go back to the museum there one day. Pretty sure they would have a copy of this anyway, but it's not likely to sell to anyone over here, and I don't particularly want to keep it. It probably should be preserved properly in good storage environment with acid-proof paper and all that sort of stuff. So I'll put that in the box to go back to Matoa. 1955 newspaper. Very good. And there's another one here. So I'll sort these out. That's 1956. And there'll certainly be some family names in here that I remember. But it's part of Matoa's history. So I'll put all those aside. Here's a large advert of a Victor lawnmower. It's a shame that's not in better condition. It looks like it's been damp or something. 1957 Victor. So these ads framed would have sold very well, but this one's not in very good condition. The print's not so flash. All right, I'll go through the rest of this. I think the rest of this box is the same, just more newspapers. I did have a, this has been clipped off a parcel. Railway Station Matoa, 1936, and T. Anders was my grandfather. So there's Victorian Railways. These look like stamp duty stamps. So that's nice. I think I'll probably keep that with some family history. 1936. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here, is just sort out the papers anything that I want to keep history-wise, anything that should go back to a local museum, and the rest is going to stay in a box, and I'll just sell it to someone that might want to do cut out and frame the ads or any other craft work with old newspapers. I won't be getting much for it, but at least we'll hopefully find a new home for it and not throw it out. With that box sorted out now, I have basically most of it is all going, and I thought I might try $20 a lot. There's some really cool ads amongst it. It's all between 1955-ish through to the mid to late 60s, so all within about a decade. Numerous papers, but all main papers like Melbourne papers. But there's some great adverts in there. This is, I didn't find anything else. I'm going to send that back to the Matoa Museum at some stage. And a little bit of recycling. Don't tell any of my kids in case any of them drew that, but they didn't sign it, so, and I've got enough stuff from the kids, so recycling for that one. Let's get this off the bench and grab the vintage esky and just have a look what's in that. I have no idea. Okay, it's heavy. It's mostly metal, I think. Shed stuff. And I don't know why it was put on the top shelf. Should have been on the bottom shelf. Let's go through it and see what we've scored. It is a shame that the esky is not in better condition. It's a nice metal retro esky. It looks like I don't have a lid for it anyway, so there won't be much value there. Okay, this thing, first up. There was a few guesses last time. Most of you that did guess were right, and it's actually a candle mould. So you can see those tin pieces are pretty well the shape of a candle. Let's come apart that end. I think that could be resoldered. And essentially, I think it sat this way. You had the wicks hanging down through the holes that came out the little holes at the bottom, and then you could basically pour wax in and make your own candles. So pretty old piece. I've seen them in museums before. I don't think it's worth a great deal, especially in that condition. I will wash it up a little bit. I don't think I'll go to the trouble of trying to resolder it, and I'm thinking that could probably go in the shop for $10 or so. They turn up from time to time. They're not super rare. We have a little pressure stove here, kerosene pressure stove. The little pump there needs new leather washers. It's got all the bits. It's got the cap, it's got the valve. It's missing, I think it's missing the top burner assembly. Should be something that sits over that to spread the flame. It's probably a Coleman brand or something similar. I think I can see Sweden. So whatever brand was made in Sweden. I can't remember off the top of my head. They turn up quite often. This bottom tank is brass and they do polish up very nicely. I've seen them advertised for pretty big money, but they're not worth a great deal because they are very common items. I'm just going to wash that up. I'm not going to polish it. It'll go in the shop for maybe $20. People like them. They're great displays in the sheds. Okay, here's why it was heavy. We have some very heavy metal wheels here. They've got needle roller bearings in them. Solid rubber tyres, so quite hefty. They would carry quite a lot of weight. I'm not sure if I have a use for them. I'm not going to keep them just in case I do. I'll clean them up a little bit. We'll put them in the shop and they would be great. I mean, a little bit of grease in on the metal rollers and you know, it's not going to handle highway speeds, but it'd be great for something heavy in the workshop. So they'll sell okay. Just need a bit of a clean up. Here we have a cast iron wheel. I think it's a wheel rather than the pulley. It's slightly concave. And it doesn't, has it got a brand? It might have something written there. It's like a small bag trolley or sack truck wheel. It's a shame. Oh, I was going to say it's a shame we don't have a pair. Oh, and we don't. That's a different one. About the same size, probably a 6-inch diameter. It's almost exactly the same size. Almost the same centre, but that's much heavier and a bit wider. I'd probably sell those at, oh look, we might get $10. Just glancing in the box, we don't have pairs. We might get $10 each. People do buy the cast iron wheels, but for a pair I'd get a lot more than that. It's just, they're obviously odd ones. Now we have a Swallow and Ariels, which was a Melbourne biscuit manufacturer, if I remember correctly. Ladies' afternoon tea biscuits. What a great tin. It's got paper label around the outside, but I think that, oh no, the top is a paper label as well, so I have to be very careful cleaning that up. But it's nice that we can still read it. Afternoon tea biscuits. Geez, I wonder what that would date to. Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. I reckon that would date to maybe the 30s. I'm not sure, and that may be the 20s. Really unusual to see the paper label still readable. Don't think there's anything in it. No, it's not a hinged tin, it's just a press-on lid. And normally without the labels, that tin would be pretty well worthless. But depending on how that label cleans up, I think we'll get at least 10, maybe even 20 for that. But that'll be a careful clean up, that one. I'm probably going to use a damp sponge just very carefully and quickly so the paper doesn't get too wet, just to take some of the dust and everything off. Maybe I should just brush it and not use any moisture. Difficult decision sometimes with that. But really nice. It'd be nice to preserve it somehow. Alright, we have a real mixture in here. Here we have an ice cube tray with the original lever type mechanism that you can break the ice cubes up, called a quick cube. These sometimes came with fridges. Crosley, it probably did, because Crosley was the brand of a fridge. I think they were a Crosley Shelvador, something like that. So a fridge accessory, pretty cool. It's aluminium. It's not actually an anodized colour. But we're probably going to go $10 on that. A nice little funnel, a bit rusty. Sometimes these are branded Willow. Can't see a brand on this one. But well made, nicely soldered. We'll clean that up. We'll get $5 for that. A tin here of glucodin, which was a glucose powder. I think high-grade powdered medicinal glucose, 98%. So the tin's in pretty reasonable condition. The top's a bit rough, but it should clean up okay. That's not a paper label, that's a proper painted tin. Glaxo Laboratories, Melbourne and Sydney. And there's something in it. So the tin itself should be about a $10 tin. I'm guessing it's got rivets or nuts and bolts. Oh no, it's got a real assortment. Okay, workshop mixture. We'll tip that out and have a look. It's always interesting to look in those. Another tin here that did have a paper label and there's nothing left, or virtually nothing left. That's a shame. So it's rusty on one side, so no value in the tin. And we have hinges, old cupboard hinges, and associated wood screws. Some of them will be brass too. There's some brass hinges there. So a bit of value there, we'll sort that out as well. Another tin here with no top. It looks like it was just a cat food tin or something. And this is a hammer from Donald wire strainers. It actually says Donald's on it. And this was the proper hammer that went with the wire strainers that I have had quite often. I don't know if I have a picture of one. And it used to have a triangle file clamped on there. The file was missing. Patent date 1934. So that if I can find a photo of these wire strainers, I'll put it up. I might have to pinch one off Google somewhere. But often the hammer's missing because they ended up in someone's toolbox and separated from the wire strainers. So maybe $5. Not overly rare. They turn up. Here we have a cardboard box, and it looks like it's hardware of some sort. Simmons Blade Saw and Steel Company. Is this an actual tool? Oh, it is. It's got a couple of fittings. That's branded Simmons. Is it a saw sharpener jig, perhaps? Or setting the height of the saw teeth? A saw set? It's possibly a saw set. Oh, here we go. It's even instructions in here. What's it here? What does it tell us it is? It's gauging the raker teeth on a saw blade. Well, there you go. And setting the teeth. So it is a saw set. Well, that's good. It's got the instructions. Original box. I don't know what that's worth. I haven't had one of those before. It's made in the US. Simmons Saw and Steel Company. Alright, I'll do a bit of checking on that. I don't think it's going to be worth a lot, but in the original box, saw tool. I'm going to say $20, but we'll do some checking on that. Now, what's a bit of paper in here for? What's this say? Oh, this is a printout of an email from 2010 from a deal I did with a neighbour. Alright, that's no value to anyone. A bit of plaited leather here with a whistle. That's a nice old whistle. Oh, it's a bit squashed. The Acme Boy Scouts whistle. So we'll clean that up. We won't get very much for that. It's unfortunately damaged. Another little empty cat food tin here with some clouts, some galvanised clouts. So they'll sell alright. Oh, we didn't look in the rest of this other cat food tin. We have some general bolts. So we're going to have a bit of hardware to sell. I don't know, that looks like a bracket off a lamp or something. It's not off our... Oh, maybe it is. No, I don't think it's off that. I'm thinking it's like part of a burner of a large Aladdin lamp or something, where something... I could be wrong, don't really recognise that. Geez, it could even be, you know, the surround of a fuel cap. Don't think it's of any value. It's probably just scrap metal. Can't see any brands on it. Don't know. Mystery item. Here's a coat hook. Just a single one, possibly off a hall stand, something like that. Alright, we have some more nuts and bolts here. Zinc plated. Looks like these are all new. They might be handy stock for my workshop here. There's some... Oh, there's a drill bit. A broken drill bit. And some Tek screws. And some shorter bolts. And that's a pretend candle from a light fitting, an electric light fitting that's all broken. So yep, a bit of hardware in that one. And I think the last thing in here is quite an elaborate handle. It's bent to one side, so it makes me think it's a side handle of something. It looks like it's either pewter or like a Britannia metal, some sort of old style die cast. Don't know what the numbers mean there, but I'm thinking that's a side handle of some sort of kitchen serving tray, something like that. Don't think there's much value, but we do sell bits of hardware through the shop. That's the end of our esky, or if you're in New Zealand, it's a chili bin. In the States, I think it's just a cooler. It is a willow one, so it's Australian made. It's just too rough to sell. If that was nice and clean and in good condition with a lid, I would be thinking $50 to $100. But in this state, I might wash it up. And look, even if we just get $5 for it, I think someone will buy it better than just throwing it out to the scrap metal. All right, I've got a bit of sorting out and a bit of cleaning up to do. And just like that, I'm back after a lot of cleaning and sorting and a bit of research. A couple of surprises, which we'll get to shortly. But I thought I might just tip this tin out on camera and we'll see what's in that. I've sorted all the other tins out. And who knows, there might be a little surprise in here as well. Okay, let's tip this out. Sometimes these boxes are just full of totally random hardware. Sometimes you find non-hardware items in them. Everything from coins to buttons to jewellery, and I've even found a small gold nugget in a tin before. So let's see what's in this one. Looks like a real mixture. Oh, it is a good mixture. Okay, a quick poke through. There's a clock key off an alarm clock. That looks like the little metal things you hammer on the soles of your shoes, or at least they used to. There's some, I'm not sure what that was. Looks like it's brass though. There's a knob from a saucepan lid, a Bakelite one. Little cap off of a tyre valve. There's a little buckle, cute little buckle. Bits of leather, some nice brass screws, some other wood screws, a curtain ring perhaps. Even some copper washers twitched to a bit of wire. Interesting mixture. There's another one of those. And a few of those. I wonder what they are. Interesting. We might put those together swing over latch from a little box. Lots of cup hooks and brass hardware. A latch from a box. So it's mostly hardware. That's the corner. I think it's a decorative corner from a picture frame. It'll probably just be brass here. It's got some verdigris there. But you never know. You don't usually find gold in that situation, but it's possible. I've found lots of sterling silver. One mangled cup hook, but I think that would be brass. No, it's not. Just brass plated. Spring. The bullet shell. Don't know what that is. A little die-cast hammerhead. That's cute. Oh, that goes with the latch we had before. There we go. Random bits of metal. That will be brass, I would suspect. Oh, the end probably won't be. Yeah, that'll be brass, that end. But that's not. And that's a very early type cup hook. Little spring clip from something. Alright, so no coins. I don't know what that is. It looks like the lantern pinion from a clock, but it's missing one end. Little air fitting from something. Oh, it's actually a valve. Alligator clip. I'll put those in a jar, they will sell. And a nice old wooden knob of something. A large copper rivet. So yeah, nothing terribly exciting, but always fun to look through that. That looks like it'll be brass. Yep. So we'll get a little bit of scrap out of here. We'll get some nice little bits of hardware. And I'll sort all the other bits out. Just lots of nails too. And wood screws. Interesting assortment. So some may see this as a waste of time, but I find it really enjoyable just sorting out stuff, going through things, categorizing and finding secret value, hidden treasures. Not much to report in this lot, but I do really enjoy sorting stuff out, so a little bit of time spent doing it isn't wasted. Plus I get to watch a few YouTube channels that I'm way behind with. So I've sorted everything out into tubs. The hinges, I might keep the pair of brass hinges. They're nice solid ones, but the rest of them can go in a jar. I'd probably put $5 a lot. Most of them are in pairs there. In fact, I think all those ones are. There was a couple of odd ones. Oh, the ones in the middle are odd ones. I'll keep the bolts here because they're useful sizes. But the wood screws, the brass screws, the Tech screws, the clouts or the galvanized nails will all go into jars to be sold at the shop. As the jars fill up, I usually just put $5 per jar. Assortment of nails in the middle. It's a real mixture, some tacks, some longer nails. I'll just put them in the jar as a mixture. What else did we have? Just little bits and pieces. I might keep the copper rivets, they'll be handy. The little, I suppose it's a toy hammerhead, I'll just put it in the $2 box at the shop. These are upholstery tacks. I might hang on to those, they might be useful. A whole heap of cup hooks and eye hooks. I think these are actually similar. I think they're like cup hooks or something that you screw into the wall and you can basically hang something on. This pile is pretty well just going into the shred steel. It's just broken bits and pieces and bent nails. The bits of hardware I'll put in jars to sell at the shop. These, I haven't seen this before. I think they're just picture hanging nails. They have got the cross hatching on the end like a nail has, but obviously it's offset. And I presume you just bang them into the wall and hang a picture on them. So I haven't seen those ones before. A little bit of hardware, some keys, a bit of brass. Now the best one, I found two other keys that I didn't notice when I first flicked through. The best thing in this whole tin was this one. Now this is a key for a pocket watch or a fob watch. It's got a very tiny square on the end. And they stopped using keys in fob watches by about 1870. I think in about 1840s they started to bring in crowned wind watches where you wind them from the crown at the top and you don't need a separate key. So this is pretty old. It's pre-1870. So a nice little find. I don't know if it's got a lot of value. I didn't look up online to see if they sell for much. But I think it's at least a $5 key. Maybe I'll keep it because I have got some old pocket watches and they turn up from time to time. So there we go. What else did we find in this haul? Well, I've cleaned up everything. It didn't go to too much trouble, just basically washed the dust off it. I did give the esky a bit of a clean up outside on the lawn with the hose, and it cleaned up much better than I expected. It's a shame we don't have a lid for it. I would certainly get $30, $40 if we had a lid. I'm going to put $10 on it. It's pretty good inside. This was a surprise, or probably the biggest surprise. It's, as we saw earlier, it's a saw tool. It's for setting the raker height, I think, on some older saws, crosscut saws, and also I think it's a sharpening jig as well. I'm not sure how to use it. I found some of these, none in Australia, but in the US, and every one of them that was boxed like mine was selling for over $100. That's Australian, but well over. So I'm going to run that through eBay. It's obviously a rarer item, and people certainly collect old woodworking tools. So that's nice. I will throw that onto eBay at some stage and let you know how it goes. The glucose tin cleaned up quite well, but they're quite common. I think we'll just put 10 on that. And the Swallow and Ariel's Ladies Afternoon Tea Biscuits tin, I wiped it over with a damp sponge, and only just damp, not wet, just to get the dust off it. And I looked at doing something else. I tried a couple of patches on the side just with beeswax, but it didn't do much. And the trouble is, the staining coming through the paper is the rust underneath. So near my thumb there, that's actually staining from underneath. So anything I smear on top to bring out the colour of the advertising is also going to bring out the colour of the rust. So that's just not worth it. It's delicate paper. I didn't go to any more trouble than just wiping it over, and it didn't really even get wet. It just managed to move the dust and clean it a bit. So it's quite a nice tin. On the other side here, if I can spin it around, it looks like it has like a sticky type seal that's been peeled off a bit. That's actually a stamp. And I've seen this stamp before. It's got, I think it's around World War II era. It's got 3 soldiers on it. So I didn't dislodge that. I left that stuck there, but that is an Australian stamp. The front is quite readable there. So yeah, really nice tin. I'm going to go $20 on that. And yeah, I'm not doing anything else to preserve the paper. I think just kept dry and out of the direct sunlight is the best thing you can do for it. I certainly wasn't going to spray it with any clear lacquer or anything. The camp stove here was a Swedish one, but it wasn't the common brand, which is a Primus. This is a Radius, I think I read. There we go. Radius, made in Sweden. And it is nicely etched on the top brass tank, but I'm not going to polish that up. I can't really get much vision of that through the camera on this angle. But it would polish up. I can read Sweden there on the edge. It would polish up really nicely if anyone could be bothered. But I'm going to put maybe 25 on that one, and we'll see how we go. It's certainly not a common brand. So there we go. A lot of this little hardware bits and pieces I won't write down anything for. Maybe the hinges. And I will be keeping some bits and pieces or just adding them to jars. But and keeping some of the nuts and bolts, as I said. Anyway, we'll get to the notepad and see what all the rest of it adds up to. And here we are at the business end of the video with a total of $270 from this lot. Now, in that, I've estimated $50 for that Simmons saw tool. I'm going to start it on eBay at 100. We'll see how we go. If it doesn't sell, I will drop the price. And of course, there's going to be fees. So that's a very conservative estimate based on what I saw the one sell at. I will update you down the track how we went there. And everything else, I think, pretty well as mentioned. And I've already got some of it in the shop. So we'll see how we go with this one. Now, a couple of things I didn't mention before. These items here, the old tins and everything, they're just all recycling. They can go in my recycle bin, that's fine. And this handle, I thought it was the end of a handle because it was angled, but I've managed to straighten it. So I'm pretty sure it had just been squashed. And I think it's that handle, the top handle from a silver-plated food cover. Now, I think it's Britannia metal, and it's certainly been silver-plated. But yes, it wasn't meant to be on an angle, which led me to think it might have been one end of something or other. I think it's actually the top handle. Pretty cool piece, quite old. Not much precious metal value at all, but I'm sure someone could repurpose it for something, or indeed they might have a food cover that's missing a handle. So there we go. That's what I've got for today. I didn't write down any of the hardware as mentioned. I've still got to sort out a little bit, and I have to get that saw tool on eBay. And just checking out the notepad, our running total for the emergency storage shed now is $27,700 thereabouts. Really getting up there. I'm sure we'll hit the $30,000 mark because we've still got a long way to go. Who knows how much higher it will go? I guess we'll all find out eventually. So thanks for watching, guys. Now, I started this video about 3 days ago. I have got a few of these shirts, by the way. It's not the same shirt. We were having some very hot weather, and the Friday, the day after I started, it was 43 degrees here. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. I didn't look it up. It'd be over 110. We had a very hot, blustery north wind, and there were fires that had started when I started the video, and they took off. And there's been massive, most of you have probably heard, a lot of you are in Australia and would well know about it. A lot of Victoria has been burning through the bush. It's back down to cooler conditions now. We had a southerly breeze today. It's only about 29, I think, degrees Celsius, so much better conditions. But the fires are still going. They have been downgraded. There's been many houses lost, a lot of businesses. Some towns have suffered quite badly, including community assets and that sort of stuff. Fortunately, I think there was one body found this afternoon on the news in the fire locally. They found the remains of someone, which is absolutely devastating. But of course, a lot of people have lost pets, they've lost their house, everything like that. So it's quite tragic. We're fortunate here, even though the fire wasn't very far away, we were on the upwind side of it, and around Ngambie is not that much bushland, it's more farming land, so we were quite okay here. But I did spend a lot of time communicating with my kids, 2 of which live in Euroa with their families, and Steve, my oldest, my son, was out actually fighting the fires. I don't think he slept for a couple of days. So it's been a bit traumatic, and I've been a little bit preoccupied trying to sort accurate information, particularly for one daughter that wasn't sure if she should pack up and leave, and there was a lot of misinformation on Facebook and that sort of stuff. So I've been a bit preoccupied. It has taken me a few days to get through this video, but we're all safe, and even though the fires are still going and some of them still not controlled, at least we're in for a week of cooler weather, so hopefully they can get on top of it all. And I know a lot of you around the world have that issue, certainly in the States. I know California has areas much like Australia with terrible fires, and other areas no doubt as well. It's just part of life in a warm country, especially Australia. I think it's the driest continent on Earth, and certainly we can have some pretty wicked weather. Anyway, I'm still here to talk to you guys. Hopefully you're all still here to watch my videos, and thanks for your support. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.